So if this work fascinates you, let me take you on a journey. In the beginning, there was the light. Within the vast night sky, there appeared a star of piercing brightness, a point of light illuminating the soul. Now, the soul essence was given the potential to evolve, but to improve, it had to unite with the body. For this reason, soul was given an affection for the body and threw itself upon the body. And being very fine and very expansive, it sank and penetrated all parts of the body and forgot about itself. It came to think of itself as the body, and in this way, we come to see ourselves only as bodies and losing awareness of the soul, disbelieve it. To access our soul's true nature, the finest, most subtle substance within us, we must drop into, meet, and be with the inner spaces and denser matter of the body. This requires us to feel what is present in the moment. Whether arising as a belief, an emotion, or sensation, we must presence this terrain to gain access to the delicate, essential nature of our subtle body. Our soul essences uniquely highlight the various aspects of the human journey. The essences shed light on the confusion caused by our conditioning and false beliefs. When we recognize and discern our pure nature, that which is, exposes the preciousness of our being. Only then can true healing occur, and the perceived separation of the ego and the soul be experienced as whole. We discover that unless we tap into the wisdom of the soul, we become lost in the convoluted labyrinth of never-ending stories that reflect the limitations of our early experiences. This invites us to cultivate a deeper and fuller understanding of the self. Thus, as suggested by Leonard Cohen's lyrics, ring the bell that still can ring, forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. It is we ourselves who solidify our rigid point of view, blocking out the light with false perfection and our limiting beliefs. Yet, like the fixative of our adrenals, secreted when activated by shock to stabilize an injury, so do outworn conditioned patterns become a binding adhesion that restricts our very flexibility and freedom of movement. What appeared necessary in the beginning no longer serves us. We actually embed our power in our deficiency, and then we convince ourselves that our deficiency is who we are. And we defend it with all of our might. Imagine that. No wonder we often feel crazy and don't understand what is really going on, because our construct is so hidden, so convoluted, and so confusing. Which I am I really? Letting in the light, the brilliance of being, exposes a crack, a chasm in an identity constructed upon the deficiencies of powerlessness, loss, lack, fear, shame, doubt, and guilt. To open in surrender to our shining radiance is to give up and let go of the old forms we believed would protect us. our true self can then come out of hiding. We are no longer driven by self-preservation based on a belief, which is actually a judgment based on a constructed identity about who we are and what is permissible. Where it gets tricky is that this ego structure that formed around our helplessness and vulnerability became a would-be protector. But protecting what? Protecting our body and beliefs. In other words, our limited identity believes we are the body, and so it validates itself through tension, pain, and emotional entanglements. And any attempt to get rid of the ego is met with extreme defensiveness. Viewed from our ignorance, our unconscious self fears that the loss of ego could result in the death of the body. Telling oneself to get rid of the ego re-traumatizes the protective structure that formed out of the original trauma. And here's the kicker: if we don't kill it, then let's heal it. This infers that we are broken. So now we try to fix what's been made up based upon the false perception of lack. You see, we aren't lacking. We are intrinsically whole in our natural state of being. What is needed is clear perception into those places that we denied, hid, disempowered, and disassociated from. Strategies that ensured our survival in early life. And how would we realize we are disconnected? We know simply by seeing and sensing that nothing is there. There is a false sense of vacancy, invisibility, or void. And what we avoid brings us back to the ego's deficiency. However, attempting to grasp the void by focusing on our deficiency can lead to feelings of unsafety and terror, because the deficient identity doesn't remember the whole self. From this perspective, any space is dangerous and interpreted as potentially annihilating the perfectionistic, controlled self. The annihilation we fear is both true and not true. The rigidity that was familiar will be gone, but we still exist. We need to learn to trust that the dissolving and reintegration process will grow our capacity to metabolize embodied spaciousness. A consistent practice can be very helpful in developing this capacity. Spaciousness and dissociation can look alike, yet they are very different. Dissociation is a shock response, a protective strategy where we split off awareness of our bodies to avoid feeling overwhelming sensations, emotions, and thoughts. With dissociation, fear resides more in the body than in our mind, and it doesn't feel safe to be in the body. The mind will assign meaning to the feelings, but to be truly alive, we must learn to completely be present with the sensations that arise. The difficulty is that feeling more sensation can also arouse feelings of fear. To be present here requires us to cultivate calming patience and loving kindness to bridge the chasm and separation we ourselves created. Right here, right now, is a standing invitation to reconnect with what we have disconnected from. To return to our essential self, we need to be present with whatever needs to be witnessed, with pure understanding and an open heart. When we include with awareness all three intelligences, the mental, the emotional, and the instinctual, gratitude and appreciation naturally flow. Our egoic identity can now trust that it is safe and can turn toward essence, bowing its head to the heart's embrace. What was hidden comes to light, and the ego, now supported, can wholly devote itself to serving our inherent divine grace. Self-realization is an evolving process, inviting us to deepen our relationship with the intimacy of self. Habituated patterns give way to the fluid nature of being. In so doing, our universe biodynamically transforms the vast spaciousness of our heavenly masculine radiance into a precisely focused potency, penetrating the fleshy earth of our feminine nature, releasing her fragrance and ravishing beauty. Embodied as form and formlessness, each residing one within the other, they meet at the nexus of our heart's most inner heart. And so it is. The womb of our sacred heart opens into divine marriage with our fully illuminated presence, disrobed of any misunderstanding that we were anything but that. Our soul, ignited with passion for her lover, slips into an ecstatic embrace with the one beloved.